Hello, welcome back. This is round 2 of Alex versus Jay, the rematch. If you watched our last video, you saw that we challenged each other to speaking part 1, Team Alex versus Team Jay. Can you remember what the result was?
The result wasn't good, to be honest.
It was pretty good.
Got a 32% and you got a what?
67.
Which makes 99%, which is weird. There's 1% of you who are, I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, it's not good. It didn't work out well for me. So this round, I'm pumped. I have been practicing all day and all night.
So in this one, you guys contributed your part 2 suggestions in the comments of the last video. And so we're going to choose one of those for each other and just do a speaking part 2. Same rules apply. Team Alex or Team Jay, you guys get to decide. Okay, so we have covered part 2 in a lot of detail before. In our course, we have a whole section on e2language.com about IELTS speaking part 2, and there are other videos which you can find in the section below. But let's talk really quickly about the criteria.
Sure. What does that mean? What's criteria?
Well, when you're speaking, the examiner is giving you 4 separate scores for your performance.
It's like a checklist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So they're ranking you on 4 different things from 0 up until 9.
And what is the first thing they listen for?
First thing is fluency and coherence. So that's just all about how easy is it for you to speak? Are you hesitating too much, repeating yourself, correcting yourself over and over, those kind of things that interrupt your fluency. It's also about how you link things together.
Okay, I find in part 2 especially coherence to be especially difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to speak for 2 minutes and the temptation is just to go round and round and round and round, which I'm not going to do in this one.
Oh.
You probably will.
Oh, fighting words. Let's see about that, shall we?
What's the second criteria?
The second one is lexical resource. That's vocabulary. So just like writing, it's all about accuracy, how many errors you make, the precision, but also range. Like you have to demonstrate a wide range of vocab.
Yeah.
And the next criterion is grammar, and it's the same thing. It's accuracy and range.
Okay, cool.
So they're 2 good things to keep in mind while you're in the speaking test. It's sort of too late if your fluency's not there and if your pronunciation's no good, but you can control your grammar and vocab. You can put your best words forward.
Cool. And pronunciation's the last one, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so how clearly you speak, how intelligible you are.
Yes. And it's also, they refer to the features of speech. So it's not just that you're clear, but it's how natural you're sounding in terms of intonation. Are you up and down or are you flat like a robot?
And word stress is part of this,
yes,
right? And
sentence stress.
A lot of Indian speakers have trouble with word stress because it's not a part of your first language. So anyway, we've got a cool thing on E2 School. I'm just going to plug E2 School, www.e2school.com. If you're having trouble with like the basics of English, like grammar, vocab, pronunciation, check out that website. It's really good and it's new.
Yes. Okay, so that is the criteria. All right, so
Right.
what about part 2? What actually happens in part 2? Let's very quickly go through that.
Part 2, what happens? So Alex, what actually happens in part 2?
Okay, so you've come out of part 1 talking about, me, all those little personal questions. Then part 2, the examiner says, they read a set of instructions and they give you a piece of paper or a booklet with your topic on it.
Right.
Your topic talk, and they tell you you have a minute to prepare. You can make notes if you want. They also give you a pen and paper.
Yeah.
So you've got the topic there, you've got your pen and paper. The examiner watches the clock and you get ready and then you talk for 2 minutes, hopefully.
Okay, and this is where you start to get a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Maybe. Not that I am, not at all.
It's a little bit odd, but if you're the test is designed to reflect the real world. So even though you don't often make a 2-minute speech, you might if you're in a job interview, if you're doing a presentation at uni, if you're running a meeting at work. So
maybe. I find part 2 a little bit weird, to be honest. But there you go. It's just part of the test. So let's work out how to do it.
Yes. Well, let's talk strategy, shall we? So we said this is teacher versus teacher. It's also strategy versus strategy.
Yeah.
So you use
I have my famous
method?
PPF method, which I like to use. And it works for like 99% of the prompts. About 1% of the prompts you shouldn't really use it. But 99% you're safe. So I'm feeling pretty confident with my strategy.
Okay. And what is it exactly?
Oh, okay. So you get your prompt, and let's say it's like, talk about bicycles. And you think, oh my God, how am I going to talk about bicycles for 2 minutes? And as I mentioned before, you don't want to go round and round in circles. So what you'll do is you'll talk about like a bicycle you had when you were a kid. And when you're talking about that, you'll obviously be using lots of past tense verbs. And then you'll say, more recently, I bought a bicycle for $5 at a garage sale, which I actually did, by the way, which is cool.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's not very nice. So then I'll be talking more sort of present perfect or even present continuous or something like that. And then that's stretched me out to about 1.5 minutes. And then I'm just going to slip in a little story about the future. You know, in the future, if Elon Musk brings out a new electric bicycle, a cyber bike, I would like to buy that. And that's going to slip in lots of modal verbs, future tense. And the examiner by this stage is just like,
wow. All right, let's see. So my method, I'm going to just do a more traditional method, which is to follow the prompts on the card in order, with a little twist at the beginning, which I'll explain after I do it.
All right, exciting.
Okay. So we got Andrew
Hello there.
in media to go through the comments in the last video and choose the part 2s that you guys suggested, and he also had to.
And I have not seen these, by the way.
So we got him to search on the internet because a lot of the suggestions were just one line, but of course the IELTS topics, they're actually a series of prompts. So we found the right ones and he's prepared them for us, and we're going to just choose at random. So thank you for contributing, by the way. We're going to choose our topic, take our 1 minute, and then do the PPF method, the traditional method, and fight.
Yeah, and we're also going to show you, for me especially, I'm going to show you how I prepare, like what actually goes through my mind, because I'm thinking very strategically about what I'm about to say, as you'll see in a second.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yes, ready.
So here is a piece of paper and a pen for your notes.
Okay.
Here is your topic. I'd like you to describe a company which employs a lot of people in your hometown.
Okay.
So you have 1 minute.
All right, let's do this.
I wonder what I'll get for lunch today. I tell you what, that roast beef roll last week, that was really good. Yeah, I reckon I'll get that again. I reckon I might be able to make it better though. What if I put cheese on it? Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm going to have for lunch today. I'm definitely going to beat Alex. I'm so disappointed nobody voted for me last week. Yeah, I'm definitely going to beat Alex. There's no doubt about it. Yes, I've got this one in the bag.
All right. So remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this. Don't worry if I stop you. Okay. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now?
Sure. So I'm going to tell you about a company in my hometown that employs a lot of people. But oddly enough, I actually grew up in a very small town. So therefore the companies, in fact, there are no companies in my hometown. So what I'll do is I'll initially tell you about a company that employed very few people. So this company was kind of strange because it was a water bottling factory, and it was like the only company in my small town. And I worked there for a while, and it had a total number of employees of about like 15 people perhaps. You didn't actually require any qualifications to work there. Most of the people were completely unqualified. And I wasn't interested in working there at all. I just did it because I needed to save some money for university. So that was the first one. More recently, I've moved to Melbourne, Australia, and of course there are lots of companies in Melbourne, one of which is called E2 Language, which is one that I actually started, and I started this about 9 years ago. And it has approximately 50 people working for us now, both full-time and part-time. In order to work at E2 Language, you do require various qualifications. It depends on the department that you are in. For example, people in the marketing team have MBAs and marketing degrees. People in the content writing team have backgrounds in linguistics, for example. So yeah, there is a myriad of different qualifications that you need to work here. In the future, it'd be cool if I could work at a company like Google. Obviously, it's one of the biggest companies in the world, and they're very sophisticated. And in order to work there, you would need who knows what sort of qualifications. I did read somewhere that in fact they don't really care about your academic background. You can just come from, say, high school and work there, which is very interesting. So they're the three companies that are in my hometown or were in my hometown.
Thank you. 2 minutes there.
My
All right.
God,
Gee.
can I just tell you about my experience? I get nervous when I do this. I find it like full on. My heart beats a little bit. It's like quite intense. So you have to like really concentrate to get the words out. I want to ramble, but you have to like hold yourself back from rambling. Yeah?
I think that was one of your best performances.
Oh, I tell you what.
I'm feeling a little bit nervous now. But I think you're right. There's a tendency to like rush and get through everything, and then you've only got 30 seconds out. So slowing down, taking a breath was very effective. I'm going to steal that as well.
Yeah. I cheated a little bit because I could see the clock there. And so in the real exam, you cannot see how much time you have left. So I really recommend practicing this just to get a feel for how long 2 minutes lasts, because without that, you have no idea how long you've been speaking for.
And it's longer than you think, 2 minutes, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. Your turn? All right, revenge time. Here we go. And here's your topic.
Thank you.
And here is your pen.
Can I have some paper?
Yes, and here is your paper.
Thank you.
And I'm going to get the stopwatch going.
Okay.
Whew, yikes. That was pretty good, actually. Not surprising, though. He does love to talk about himself. No wonder he can't keep a girlfriend. Anyway, maybe I'll apply for a job at Google too. What am I going to say?
Okay, I'll tell you when the time is up. You can start speaking now.
Okay, so my topic today is to describe an experience that I had as a member of a team. So actually at the moment, besides work, I'm not a member of any teams. I don't do any sporting activities, or I'm not a member of any clubs, which is, as I prepared this speech, I realised is a bit of a deficit in my life, something I should probably rectify. But I do want to tell you about my experience as a teenager, as a member of a team, which this experience had a really profound impact on my life. So what was it? It was a swimming team. I used to swim a lot. It was a club team, not a state or a national team, but we used to train up to 11 times a week, in the morning before school, after school, on Saturday morning, on Saturday afternoon, on Sunday. It was full on. It really dominated my life and my teammates' life for a long time. The members of the team were initially just strangers, of course, and they came from all around Melbourne. Nobody lived where I lived. So I had the chance to meet people and make friends with people from really different backgrounds to me, which was one of the best things about being a part of a sporting team. But over time, of course, we became best friends. In fact, some of my best friends now are my old swimming teammates. I didn't play any kind of leadership role in the team. I was just a member of that team. I don't think that was something I really aspired to as a teenager. We did have captains, and they were great leaders to us, but that was not my role. I was just a part of the team, very happily so. We achieved goals in a lot of different ways. I suppose we went to national championships, Olympic trials at one point.
Okay, your time is up.
Oh no. Okay.
Okay, first of all, is it bad if the examiner stops you like that?
No.
No, it's not, is it?
Totally fine.
So you can't take away points from Alex just because I stopped it. Even though I did stop at like 1 minute and 59 seconds.
Oh, I feel like that's unfair. No, that's fine. The examiner will absolutely cut you off.
Right.
At any time, even in part 1 and part 3, if you're going on too much or they want to go somewhere else, they'll just interrupt you. Don't worry about it at all.
How do you feel you went with your performance then?
I think I could do better, but I don't want to sway the audience because I still want to win.
Right, fair enough. Yeah.
But it was okay. So my little twist you might have noticed, I worked through each dot point and tried to extend and expand.
Really extrapolated on each one, didn't you?
Brought in other aspects. And then probably for me, the key is that I also add an introduction. So I always add something like me as a person in general at the beginning before I get straight into the member of the team part.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if it's something like the one we saw before, describe a piece of art, it's hard to talk about that for 2 minutes, but if you give some background, like, I'm actually really interested in art. I went to a gallery last week, blah, 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 15 seconds, 20 seconds, gone. And then I get into the points.
So my topic was about a small company, a large company in my hometown. And I said, there isn't a large company in my hometown. I grew up in the countryside, right? And that sort of, is that off topic?
No, there's no such thing as
There's
off
no
topic.
such thing as off topic, right?
Yeah,
what about
writing there is.
What about if I had to talk about companies and I started talking about sport? How do I get penalised for that? Is that...
You know what, if you started talking about something totally different...
Right.
The examiner's not supposed to stop you, and I don't think they would, but if it were me, I would think, he memorised this speech, I'm going to completely disregard it.
Okay, and obviously you get low points if you memorise something.
Yeah, right? Well, it would be like part 2 didn't exist. So I would still score your part 1 and your part 3 because you can't memorise them. Yeah. But part 2, I would, no matter how amazing it was, if you memorise it, that's not your spoken level. Yeah. Yeah, cool. But nobody does that.
Okay, good. Don't do that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's run through a little self-assessment checklist.
Cool.
I know how much you love that.
Okay, so remember we spoke about the criteria earlier, that is the checklist the examiners use when they're listening to you speak. Here they are. I'm just going to go through it and self-assess me. Okay, so here are the criteria. This is the checklist that the examiners use when they're listening to you, okay? So you'll be assessed against these criteria. First one is fluency and coherence. Did we speak fluently without noticeable effort? Did we develop our topics coherently? Did we use a range of connective discourse markers? Next one is lexical resource, which means vocabulary. So did we use a wide range of vocabulary flexibly? Did we use some less common and idiomatic language? Idiomatic language here meaning like natural sounding, like phrasal verbs, not raining cats and dogs and kicking buckets, stuff like that, just natural sounding, native-like English. Did we paraphrase effectively? Then there's grammar, range, and accuracy. So did we use a wide range of structures, that is different sentence structures and types and verb tenses, etc.? Did we produce frequent error-free sentences, or did we make lots of mistakes? Next one is pronunciation. So were we clear? Did we use a wide range of connected speech, emphasis, stress, chunking, intonation to convey our meaning? And lastly, did we speak clearly with all the correct sounds of English?
When I look at this, I'm a little unsure about my grammar. Did I really demonstrate a wide range of grammatical structures? I'm not sure. I feel pretty good about the other things, but I usually try and get in some past perfect, some past modals, like I should have, I could have. I think I forgot about that.
Conditional would be nice.
Yeah.
If type sentences.
Yeah. Third conditional is always a nice one. What about you? Anything lacking?
I'm pretty confident. As you should be, in me.
So, of course, you can vote Team Alex.
Or Team J.
Team J. And in our next video, we're going to answer your questions. So I know in the last video, there were quite a lot of questions about the speaking test. What's the examiner doing? Why did the examiner do this or that? So please, in the comment section, put your questions. And in our next video, we'll tackle all of them. We'll have a break from the fighting.
Yeah, become friends again.
Temporarily.
For a little while. Bye.
Thanks for watching. See ya.
Hey, Alex, can you tell us a little bit more about the mock test on e2language.com?
Yes. So if you want to try a full computer-delivered IELTS test, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, we have it on e2language.com. The really good thing about it is that you get to do a face-to-face on the computer, one-on-one speaking test, full speaking test with one of our expert teachers. And that teacher will record the session and they'll also give you feedback, scores, lots of advice to help you improve your speaking. It's a really good way to experience the real tests without spending $340.
Yeah, definitely. Highly recommend it. I think that test simulation face-to-face is so good because honestly it's a weird experience, and the more that you do the weird experience, the more common or normal it feels.